Welcome back, everyone. We're about to take a deep dive into marketing, but get this. We're doing it through the lens of Donald Trump.
Yeah, you heard that right. We're cracking open Trump University Marketing 101.
This isn't your typical marketing textbook, though. It's more like getting advice straight from, well, a tycoon, right?
Definitely. The book really emphasizes the importance of having a great product as the foundation for everything else.
Like that build it and they will come philosophy.
Exactly. He doesn't believe in just hype. There has to be real substance behind the marketing.
Speaking of substance, he actually shares a story in the book about one of his buildings, a $300 million one.
Oh, yeah, I remember that. A lot of people might think its success was all about some flashy ad campaign.
Right, but he actually attributes its success to the building itself.
He says, and I quote, "The project became a success because it was a great building. Many people who do not know me think that I am a great promoter, but the fact is that what I do best is build."
So it's like he's saying, look, before you even think about marketing, make sure you have something truly great to offer.
Exactly. And that's where understanding the customer comes in.
Which he talks about a lot.
He really drives home the importance of knowing your target audience inside and out. In fact, he has 3 key questions he wants every business owner to ask themselves.
Oh, yeah, I remember these. They're really thought-provoking.
The first one is, what do customers want? Sounds basic, but you'd be surprised how many businesses miss the mark on this.
Definitely. It's easy to get caught up in your own ideas and forget to really tune in to what your customers are looking for.
The second question is, are you targeting the right customers?
So it's not just about knowing what they want, but making sure you're reaching the right people with your message.
Exactly. And the third question is, what's your product's unique benefit?
In other words, what makes you stand out from the crowd? Why should someone choose you over all the other options out there?
Right. He also makes the point that you can't be everything to everyone. You have to find your niche and own it.
He actually uses a really interesting analogy in the book. He compares it to being a boxer.
Oh, yeah, he says, if you're a boxer trying to fight every contender in every weight class, you're going to get knocked out pretty quickly. It's about choosing your battles and focusing on what you do best.
Makes total sense. So we've got a great product. We understand our customer. Now, how do we make sure they're willing to pay for what we're offering?
That's where this idea of perceived value comes in.
A concept that's absolutely central to his whole marketing philosophy.
Perceived value is basically how much a customer is willing to shell out for your product or service. It's not just about the actual cost, it's about how they perceive the value of what you're offering.
So it's not just about slapping a price tag on something, it's about creating a perception of value in the customer's mind.
Exactly. And Trump breaks it down into 3 types of benefits: functional, emotional, and economic.
Okay, let's break those down a bit. What's functional benefit?
Functional benefits are all about what the product actually does. It's about features, capabilities, performance.
So like for a car, it would be things like fuel efficiency, horsepower, safety features, that kind of stuff.
Exactly. Then you have emotional benefits, which are all about how the product makes the customer feel.
So this is where things get a little more subjective.
Exactly. Does it make them feel stylish, powerful, confident, secure? These are all emotional benefits.
It's about tapping into the psychology of the customer.
Absolutely. And then there's the economic benefit, which is all about the value proposition in terms of cost, savings, return on investment.
So for example, a hybrid car might have an economic benefit because it saves you money on gas in the long run.
Right. And Trump actually uses one of his own ventures as a prime example of how to create perceived value.
Which one?
The Trump International Hotel and Tower. Every detail, from the location to the finishes, is designed to target a very specific customer.
Someone who values luxury, exclusivity, the best of the best.
Exactly. And because of that carefully crafted experience, they're willing to pay a premium. He even has this quote in the book about his building design philosophy.
Let me guess, something bold and attention-grabbing.
He says, put your money where it can be seen. It's his way of saying that investing in those visible elements reinforces that perception of high value.
It's like a visual reminder of the quality and exclusivity you're paying for. So how can someone actually put this idea of perceived value into practice?
Well, he gives us a really handy tool for that. It's called the perceived value analysis.
Oh, yeah, I remember this one. It's super practical, and he uses a really down-to-earth example to illustrate it.
The example of a dry cleaner.
Right. It walks you through identifying the key benefits your customers care about.
Like stain removal, speed of service, price, eco-friendliness, things like that.
You rank those benefits in order of importance to the customer.
And then you honestly assess how you stack up against your competitors in each area.
It's like a reality check for your business.
Exactly. It can be really eye-opening, especially for business owners who might have assumptions about what their customers value most.
So it's a tool that can be applied to any business, not just dry cleaning.
Absolutely. That's the beauty of it. It really forces you to think critically about your target audience, the value you offer, and where you stand in the competitive landscape.
It makes me think, how would you apply this tool to your own product or service? What are the benefits your customers really care about?
That's a great question to consider, isn't it? And once you have a solid grasp on perceived value, then it's time to move on to crafting a winning marketing strategy.
Which is what we'll be diving into next. So we've laid the groundwork, we've got a great product, and we understand perceived value. Now, how do we actually go about creating a winning marketing strategy?
Well, Trump, in his book, Trump University Marketing 101, he dedicates a whole section to that. And he's very clear that it's not about just randomly trying things.
So no throwing spaghetti at the wall and seeing what sticks.
Exactly. He stresses the importance of being strategic and having a clear plan. He actually uses this analogy of a chess game.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah, he says you have to think several steps ahead. You need to be able to anticipate your opponent's moves, have a vision for where you want to end up.
That makes sense. So where do we even begin with this strategic chess game? What's our first move?
Well, before you even make a move, you have to know the playing field. And that means competitor analysis.
So basically figuring out who else is out there trying to get the attention of the same customers.
Exactly. But Trump doesn't stop there. He says you can't just focus on your current competitors.
Oh, so not just the people who are already in the game, but also the ones who might join later.
Right. He calls them potential entrants. It's about being prepared and not letting someone sneak up on you from behind.
I see. So it's kind of like keeping an eye on the sidelines and seeing who might be warming up to jump in.
Right. And he also says it's important to consider what he calls substitutes.
Substitute.
So it's like this, even if you have the best pizza place in town, you're not just competing with other pizza places.
Right. There are other things people can eat.
Exactly. You're competing with burger joints, with taco trucks, salad bars, anything that could satisfy that same basic need.
I hadn't thought about it that way. It's really about looking at the bigger picture.
It is. So once you have a good understanding of who you're up against, both now and in the future, you can start thinking about how to position yourself strategically.
How do we actually do that? What's the secret sauce?
Well, Trump's a big believer in distinguishing between strategy and tactics.
I've heard that before, but what's the difference, really?
Strategy is your overall plan. It's the big picture direction you're heading in. Tactics are the specific actions you take to get there.
So strategy is like, I don't know, deciding to launch a new product line, and tactics are the specific steps you take to make that happen.
Exactly. It's like strategy is we're going to conquer this new territory, and tactics are we're going to use these weapons, these battle formations.
Got it. So how do we develop a solid strategy? Any tips from Trump?
Well, he actually provides a tool for that. It's called the growth strategy analysis.
Oh, yeah, I remember that. It's all about figuring out how you're going to grow your business, right?
Right. And he basically breaks it down into 4 main options, each with its own pros and cons.
Oh, you on me.
The first option is what he calls market penetration. Basically, you're sticking with your existing products or services and your existing customer base.
So you're trying to get a bigger slice of the pie you're already in?
Exactly. The second option is called product development. This is where you're developing new products or services for your existing customers.
So you're expanding your offerings but staying within the same customer base.
Right. The third option is market development. This is where you're taking your existing products or services and trying to sell them to new customers.
Ah, so you're expanding your territory, so to speak.
Exactly. And then the fourth option, which is kind of the riskiest, is diversification. This is where you're developing new products or services for new customers.
So it's like you're branching out in a whole new direction.
Exactly. He even says that each of these options comes with its own set of challenges and risks. You really have to do your research and be strategic about which path you choose.
He makes another interesting point, though. He says no matter what path you choose, you have to acquire new knowledge. What does he mean by that?
He means you can't just rely on what you already know. You have to be willing to learn and adapt as you go.
So it's like if you're developing a new product, you need to understand the technology, the manufacturing process, or if you're entering a new market, You need to do your homework and understand the culture and the competition.
Exactly. It's a reminder that growth requires constant learning and adaptation.
So we've talked about understanding our customers, developing a winning strategy, navigating those complex growth paths. Now, what's next on the agenda?
Well, Trump really emphasizes one more crucial piece of the puzzle, building a powerful brand.
Now we're talking. That's something he definitely knows a thing or two about. Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground. Understanding the customer, crafting a winning strategy, navigating those growth paths. But in Trump University Marketing 101, Trump stresses this one key element that really ties everything together.
Yeah, absolutely. The power of a strong brand.
And of course, Trump is a master of branding. His name is practically synonymous with a certain image, a certain lifestyle.
He's a great example of how to build a brand that really resonates. And he makes it clear in the book that it's not just about a flashy logo or a catchy slogan.
There's got to be more to it than that.
It's about consistency. Your brand message has to be aligned across every single touch point. Your website, social media, advertising, even down to how your employees interact with customers. It all has to paint a cohesive picture.
Makes sense. If your actions don't match your words, people see right through that.
Exactly. He even uses this analogy in the book. He compares it to an orchestra.
Oh, I'm intrigued. Tell me more.
He says, imagine an orchestra where each musician is playing a different tune. It'd be total chaos, right? Well, your brand is like an orchestra. Every element needs to be in harmony to create a beautiful symphony.
I love that analogy. So how do we make sure our brand orchestra is playing in tune? How do we actually build a strong brand?
Well, Trump breaks it down into 3 key elements. He calls them identifiers, attributes, and associations.
Okay, let's unpack those. What are identifiers?
Identifiers are the things that people use to recognize your brand immediately. It's your name, your logo, your tagline, even things like your color scheme and your typography.
So it's like the face of your brand. It's what people see first and what they remember.
Exactly. Then you have attributes.
Attributes.
These are the specific features and qualities that set your product or service apart. What does it do? How does it perform? What problems does it solve?
So this is where you really get into the nitty-gritty of what you're offering. It's the substance behind the style.
Right. And then there are associations.
Association.
This is where things get really interesting. Associations are the emotional connections and values that your brand evokes.
So it's how your brand makes people feel.
Exactly. Does it make them feel powerful, sophisticated, adventurous? What kind of lifestyle does it represent? What kind of community does it foster?
It's about tapping into something deeper, something more than just the product itself.
Exactly. Think about some of the most iconic brands out there, like Apple or Nike. It's not just about the phones or the shoes. It's about the feeling of innovation, creativity, aspiration that those brands represent.
So if we apply these elements to the Trump brand, we can see how they work together to create this really powerful image.
Absolutely. The name Trump itself has become synonymous with luxury, success, a certain level of extravagance. The bold gold lettering of the logo reinforces that image of opulence. And his marketing always emphasizes themes of achievement, ambition, going above and beyond.
It's interesting how each element builds upon the others to create this really strong brand identity.
And that's what you want to aim for with your own brand. A clear, consistent, and compelling message that really resonates with your target audience.
So we've built this amazing brand. We've got this powerful image. Now, how do we actually get the word out? How do we let people know we exist?
Well, Trump believes in traditional marketing and advertising, of course, but he also stresses the importance of public relations and customer relationship management.
So it's not just about broadcasting your message to the masses. It's about building relationships and creating genuine buzz around your brand.
Exactly. Public relations is all about getting your name out there in a positive light, generating media coverage, sponsoring events, really creating a sense of excitement around your brand.
And customer relationship management is about nurturing those relationships once you've made that initial connection.
Right. It's about providing excellent customer service, going the extra mile to make your customers feel valued and appreciated. It's about creating a brand experience that goes beyond just the transaction itself.
So it's about making people feel like they're part of something special, part of a community.
Exactly. And Trump's also a big advocate for what he calls guerrilla marketing.
Guerrilla marketing. Sounds kind of intense. What's that all about?
It's about finding creative, unconventional ways to reach your target audience without spending a fortune.
So thinking outside the box, being resourceful.
Exactly. It could be anything from a flash mob to a viral video to partnering with other local businesses to reach a wider audience. It's about making a big impact with limited resources.
It sounds like it requires a lot of creativity and a bit of a risk-taking spirit.
It does, but it can be incredibly effective if done well.
Wow, we've covered a lot of ground today. From understanding our customers to crafting a winning marketing strategy to building a powerful brand and even delving into the world of guerrilla marketing.
It's been a really fascinating journey through the mind of Donald Trump and his approach to marketing.
And hopefully our listeners have gained some valuable insights from Trump University Marketing 101 that they can apply to their own ventures.
I think so. It's a reminder that marketing is about so much more than just selling a product or service. It's about creating value, building relationships, and making a lasting impact.
Absolutely. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. We hope you found it insightful and inspiring.
And if you want to explore these concepts even further, we highly recommend checking out Trump University Marketing 101 for yourself.
Until next time, happy marketing.